Do I need a website? I've had small business owners asking me this question for years. I've seen people say that now with AI searching so much of the web and social media, maybe your website isn't quite as important. And while that might be true, your website is still a major piece of the puzzle. It's about creating an ecosystem where every piece has a job to do. And your website is one of those pieces with a specific job. Hi, I'm Appy for My Code Happy. I'm a website and data advisor, and my mission is to help small business owners have a website that works for them and their business. This is part 7 of a series called Back to Website School, where we're talking about website basics in the age of AI from where we are in September 2025. And this video is about how your website fits into your marketing ecosystem. One of the pieces of website strategy, do I need a website or not, is this question of, should I have a website of my own? Or is it good enough to be part of a marketplace, something like Etsy or Substack or Patreon? And the answer to that is, of course, that there are trade-offs. There are fees involved, and a lot of people would rather have more control over their own website. The trade-off is that with your own website, then you have to get traffic to that website. So really figuring out your marketing ecosystem, what the different pieces of your business are, and which platforms you want to fill the different pieces for your business, and how that's all going to fit together can really help you answer some of those questions. Sometimes one of the considerations is, how dependent do I want to be on a particular platform, whether that's social media, whether that is a website or a marketplace. Sometimes that consideration can affect our choices. In the past, we've talked about your website as the hub where your social media and your other marketing could be all tied together on your website. And that's still true. But with AI search and the new reality of discovery being highly likely that people are going to find your small business through AI search, and maybe instead of your website, they're going to find your Instagram post or your YouTube or your TikTok videos. So if that's the case and people are finding you, which is the goal, then do you even need a website? And the answer to that question is yes, if the website serves a purpose for your business. For a lot of businesses, your website is still where people come to do the thing, to buy the product, to book the call, to request the service, to join the newsletter. And if that's the case, where people are going to come to your website and they're going to do the thing, even if that's just binge the content, maybe it's free content, that's still a valid puzzle piece for your marketing ecosystem. Since your website is not necessarily doing the heavy lifting on your brand voice and your vibe and your brand period, it's one piece. So the other pieces need to pull their weight a little more. And so that's the first tip. From your website to the rest of your marketing ecosystem, is it all coherent? That doesn't mean that a Facebook post looks exactly like a TikTok video. Maybe the aspect of your brand personality that you show on TikTok is a little more salty. That's okay. Different aspects on different platforms, depending on what is appropriate for the platform, perfect. Coherent so that there is one brand personality is critical. So what does it mean to have an ecosystem for your marketing? Maybe you're familiar with a marketing funnel, but what about an ecosystem? Well, an ecosystem, it may have all the different pieces similar to a funnel, but where we used to expect, whether it was ever completely true or not, we used to expect people to find us, and then we would expect to nurture them, and then we would expect for at least some of them to purchase if that was appropriate for their circumstances. But nowadays, we're in a trust recession, and that means that it's taking people longer to make a decision. They're not as quick to trust us and believe that what we have to offer is going to help them. They're not as quick to believe that we can deliver what we say we're going to deliver. So they do still need to discover us, but maybe their journey looks something like they find us and they come into our email newsletter or they follow us on social media. And maybe there's dips into our world over years, even. They follow us and then they lose us and then they're back and then we can nurture them for a while. Then finally, they are ready to become a customer or client. The journey is messy. We need to expect for people to be dipping in and out of the process instead of following some kind of logical order, which may or may not have been exactly true before anyway. But now that's even more the case that people are dipping in and out. And when they're ready, then that's when they can find us. So that means we need to have lots of entry points, re-entry points, lots of options for nurturing for people to be able to find us. Maybe that's through AI. That's a huge thing that hasn't been available in the past. Being discoverable through AI takes a little bit of a different strategy, which we didn't have to have before. It's still the case that people may find us on social or on YouTube or through traditional search, but these things are going to continue to change over time as things keep changing in the world of AI and business. Since they're dipping in and out of our ecosystem, we need to have content that's consistent across platforms in order to help them continue to get to know us and learn to trust us so that when they are finally ready, then they can come to our website and they can accomplish what they're there to do, to become the client, to buy the thing, whatever it is. So one thing that you can do for your business is you can think about the platforms and your website, and you can think about how those things fit together to form your ecosystem for your marketing. You can think about your marketing efforts, your different platforms, your website, your other efforts, and you can think about how they fit together into this ecosystem, what functions they fill, and how they help people. And finally, what do you offer? What's really going to work best for your situation? For example, for a service provider, if you need a booking calendar and that's all you need, do you need a full website with customer management and the ability to send people forms and have people sign contracts, maybe even some email marketing? Or do you simply need a booking calendar? The particulars of your business can make the most difference for your choices. It also depends on what you want and how you want those things to fit together. How do you approach this ecosystem thing? The first step, as it usually is to start with your business goals and your preferences. How do you want to work with your customers and clients? The next piece is to map your ecosystem. How are people finding you? How will you nurture them? How will they buy? And how will you deliver your service? And what are the features you need for each of those pieces? The next piece is to, as you develop your system, to continue to test it because it needs to evolve with how marketing is changing, AI, and our businesses change. So continuing to get that feedback and being flexible, not that you just run after every shiny object and keep changing things every 2 seconds, but continuing to be flexible to allow yourself to monitor the results of how things are working and being willing to change as needed can really help your marketing ecosystem stay effective. And then finally, I admit there are platforms that I prefer and platforms that I don't prefer, but I also really work on staying platform agnostic because it helps to find out what I need and then consider the platforms that might fit that need without having already decided that, no, I don't like this one, or somebody else said this one is best when that may not fit my situation. Your website might have a little different role than it used to. It still needs to fit your whole workflow and ecosystem for your business and for your marketing. If you can consider the strategy of how all the pieces will fit together, then you'll be able to stay flexible and continue to navigate as things continue to change. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again.